So here I am opening the syllabus. Just give me a moment. I do not know why today. Yeah, dear friends. So here, if you are going to look at, somebody has joined. Okay. Dear friends, so here you are going to look at that. So we are discussing about the data link layer design issues, then framing. Okay, and so here we have completed this particular this particular concept also already. Elementary data link protocol, simplex protocol. Okay, a simplex stop and wait protocol for an error-free channel, that is the noiseless, and a simplex stop and wait protocol for noisy channel. Then sliding window protocols, a 1-bit sliding window protocol, a protocol using go back n, and a protocol using selective repeat, example data link protocol. This part we have completed. So now we are going to start discussing about error detection and correction. Okay, so anyhow, so here again, whenever the time comes, okay, if any other things are supposed to be discussed, I will explain that particular things over there again. Okay, but so before we are going to proceed for this, so according to your Forojan, according to your according to your Tenenbaum, your prescribed textbook, one important message is one important information, in fact, flow control related. So which you need to understand that. Okay, so that I thought to explain at the end. So today we will complete that. Then we will move to the error detection and correction. Okay, so everybody are able to view this particular thing, flow control. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what exactly the meaning of a flow control? Flow in the sense, whenever I am sending the data from sender to the receiver, sender is going to send at different speed. Receiver and sender does not worry about the receiver, whether the receiver is able to receive that particular thing or not. Or sender is sending it slow and receiver may receive at a greater speed, and where receiver does not know whether sender can send at that speed or not. So that was the reason these flow control techniques, what we are doing in the sense, we have brought it into the picture so that the sender and receiver can agree upon that what rate they can send it. Okay, and even so how many frames it can send without waiting for an acknowledgement. Okay, that is nothing but receiver, if it is going to say 7, sender cannot send more than 7. The moment if sender is sending 7, it should wait until it is going to receive the acknowledgement. Okay, so now here, if we are going to look at that, the important design issue that occurs in the data link layer when we are going to look at, so is what to do with the sender that systematically wants to transmit frames faster than the receiver can accept them. This situation can occur when the sender is running on fast. That is what exactly I said. Okay, so sender is running a fast and receiver cannot accept that, but still it wants to send it what it should do that. Okay, now the point is a powerful computer and the receiver is running on a slow and low end machine, then how it is going to be happen? Now in this particular situation, we need to control the sender. In this situation, we need to control the sender. See, a common situation is when the smartphone requests a web page from a far more powerful server, which then turns on the Firehouse and blast the data at the poor helpless phone until it is completely swamped. So buffering is going to be more. It cannot build it and it can do that. So even if the transmission is error free, the receiver may be unable to handle the frames as fast as they arrive because it is a slow. Receiver is slow. Your phone is very slow because your phone is not having that much memories and all. Isn't it? And your network is also going to be dependent. Your signal is going to be there. A lot of external parameters are going to be there. But when we are going to look at that, how we can control this particular flow is, so here what we are going to do in the sense, to prevent such situation, to prevent this situation, two approaches are commonly used. What are those? The first one is feedback based flow control. Feedback based flow control. Feedback based is nothing but, now the receiver sends back information to the sender, giving its permission to send more data. Until and unless if you are not going to ask the receiver how much data you are going to receive, that is what I have explained, isn't it? So now the receiver is going to give a feedback, okay, sends back the information to the sender, giving its permission to send more data, or at least telling that sender how the receiver is doing. Okay, so this is the first method, that is what we will call it as feedback based flow control. Now this we are going to discuss, actually whatever we have discussed, all those algorithms are into this model only, this one only, this method. Now when we are going to look at the second one, what is the second one? Rate based flow control. How much I can send it? See, this is depending upon the protocol has built-in mechanism that limits the rate at which sender may transmit the data without using the feedback from the receiver. Now it is going to say that the minimum. Okay, now in whatever the data I am having it, I can say that minimum everyone is going to have a 1 Mbps. Minimum everyone is going to have a 1 Mbps. Or let us consider here we are going to look at that. What is an average? I will say that what is an average internet speed Mbps. Okay, now here I will say that Mbps by country. Okay, now here if you are going to look at that, dear friend, now South Korea on an average each one is going to get how much speed? 28.6 Mbps. Now here if you are going to look at that, our India is not there. In the first four, even you people are going to think that USA is not there. South Korea, Norway, Sweden, Hong Kong, it is there. Sir, where is our India? India is at 6.8 Mbps. You can have a look at, if I'm not wrong, where is India? Hey, where is, okay, 6.8, I told, no? Yeah. This 6, yeah. Dear friends, you are looking at where we are standing in the world. Now, you can imagine that how much important this subject is for us. There are the countries like Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Malaysia is also having a better internet speed than us. Understanding my point? So now the point is 6.5 Mbps per, see, average connection speed in India. Now this is what? 2017. Now here is another one is there. When this is internet speed, when you are using the normal, what we'll say, laptop or system, okay, connection. When you are using mobile, in the mobile also we will look at where is India is happening. So same 6.8 or something I will tell. Yes, you see. Here you go. 6.8. So now it is giving an indication to me that whether I am using a connection with a mobile or when I am using a connection with this, what is the minimum speed I can achieve? 6 Mbps. It is showing that. So now what I will do in the sense, I will not ask anything. I will not ask the receiver, okay, feedback I will not try to find out. Only what I will do, rate based. I will send at 6 Mbps rate. Even though I am having 100 Mbps, I will send it at 6 Mbps. But this is going to be dealt by the transport layer. This is going to be dealt by transport layer. Now here if you are going to look at that. So here we are going to study the feedback based flow control schemes only. Okay. And rate based schemes are only seen at part of transport layer. Okay. Now the feedback based schemes are sent at the seen at the both the link layer and higher layers. Now this is what exactly we have discussed at that. Okay. Now here when we are going to look at that, various feedback control schemes known, but most of them use the same basic principle as yesterday, which I have explained to you that. Okay. So it is going to find how many number of frames I can send it without waiting for an acknowledgement. Only that many number of frames you can send it. So this is what exactly I would like to tell, something related to your flow control according to your Tenenbaum. So what are the two methods which they are telling that? Either you can have a feedback based or you can have a rate based flow control. Okay, and rate based we are going to use in the upper layer, and feedback based we are going to use in the link layer. Okay, so here this is what exactly we mean to say that. And then when we are going to look at that in the today's class, we are going to discuss one of the very interesting concept called error detection and error correction. Okay, so shall we go with the discussion of error detection and correction, and any doubts in the flow control? Dear friends, I'm asking you only. Only Sai Harshita responded. Shyamala.
No doubt, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, today when we are going to look at the error detection and correction, okay, again what I will do in a sense, I will explain by using the Forojan, and then we will come back to the Tenenbaum so that we will close that topic. Okay. So, today we are going to discuss about error detection and correction. Now let us consider why we need this error detection and correction. As we have told that any data, when you are going to send it, the data is supposed to be converted into signal, and that signal may be an analog signal or digital signal, and after connecting that particular signal, that signal has to be transmitted through transmission medium, and while we are transmitting through transmission medium, there may be a chance to get the transmission impairment. Now what are the transmission impairments we have? We are having attenuation, distortion, and noise under the noise, thermal noise, okay, impulse noise, crosstalk noise. Okay, so now which is indicating that during the transmission, definitely there may be a chance that your data may corrupt, and we have discussed it in the yesterday's class. There may be exist of two kinds of channels. One is the noiseless channel and another one is the noisy channel. And then we have discussed that noiseless channels for very good for imagining, but in the realistic we are rarely going to find the noiseless channel. In the realistic, noiseless channels are going to be found very rarely. So majorly we are going to have noisy channels. Noisy channels is nothing but definitely while you are transmitting, some other data is also going to be transmitted along with that. So this, whenever you are going to transmit, so during that particular transmission, there may be a chance of corrupting the bits of your data. Now, whenever this corruption is there, corrupting is nothing but a 0 is changing to 1 and a 1 is changing to 0. Now, whatever it may be, whenever a 0, 1, 0 is changing to 1, 1 is changing to 0. Now, here if you are going to look at that, this is 1, you are sending 1, but here receiver is going to interpret it as 10. Sorry, receiver is going to interpret it as 10 is nothing but what? 8421. Okay, so 2. Now you see, you are sending the value 1, but here receiver is, if I am sending the 0, 1, and 0 is changed to 1, 1 is changed to 0. Now receiver, instead of receiving 1, receiver is receiving 2. Now the data is corrupted. Now, when you have received 2, whether you have any guarantee that, okay, sender has not sent this or sender has sent some other thing. Now that is the reason we need some applications require that errors be detected and corrected. That is the reason we are going to talk about detection, and once if you have detected, if possible, you correct it. Why we need correction? Please try to understand, dear friend. Why we need to correct in the sense, if you are not able to correct, what we should do? We need to retransmit only. When we need to retransmit, okay, whatever the corrupted frames were there, here I am going to write that corrupted frames must be retransmitted. Okay. Corrupted frames must be okay, retransmitted. when corrupted frames must be retransmitted, now you see, if suppose 10 frames, if I am sending it, 10 frames are corrupted, then 10 frames are supposed to be resent, then what is going to be happen? When each and every time you are retransmitting it, okay, so you are wasting your bandwidth, you are going to waste we are going to waste the bandwidth. We are going to waste the bandwidth whenever you are doing that. Instead, if possible, you can correct it. We can detect and correct. Okay, we can detect and correct the errors if possible. Okay. So now here the important point is whether is it possible, whether okay correction is possible, when which correction is possible, which is not possible. Okay, and so but first we need to detect the things, we need to detect the error. Now how we are going to do that? Okay, now how we are going to do that? When you want to detect that, okay, now here if you are going to look at that, now here we have to discuss about the detection and correction. So first you need to find out what kind of errors are there, then only you are going to detect it. Okay. Then, so what are the types of errors are there? How we can detect it? What are the methods we are going to have? Then we are going to look at the detection with the correction. Okay. Now let us consider, first we will look at the type of errors. In the types of errors, first and foremost important one is single bit error. Single bit error. So in a single bit error, only one bit in the data unit is changed. That is, if you are going to look at the example, you see, as I told that, okay, this is the data which we are going to send, and this bit is changed to 0 to 1. This bit is changed 0 from 1. So how many bits are changed? Only one bit is changed. Whenever one bit changed is there, that we are going to call it as a single bit error. Single bit error. Then, sir, you are specifically saying single bit error. Now, what about multiple bits, sir? If this bit is changed to 1, what is going to be happen? Now, you can have a look at that. Then, whenever more than one bit error is there, that we are going to call it as a burst error. We are going to call it as a burst error. Please note down. A burst error means that 2 or more bits in the data have been changed. Okay, units have changed. So a burst error means that 2 or more bits in the data unit have changed. Now here if you are going to look at an example, now you see how many bits are changed? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 bits were changed. See, 0 changed to 1, 0 changed to 1, 0 changed to 1, 0 changed to 1. Sir, do you think that only this is going to be happen? See, now the point is this is sender and this is receiver, and here this is a length of burst error 8 bits. Now these are the 8 bits which I am going to take out. In this particular 8 bits, if you are going to look at that, these are the corrupted bits. Okay. So sometimes say 1 is going to change it to 0. Don't think that, okay, if you want to do that, okay, you can keep 0 over here and you can say this is also a error. Then whenever there is a more than one bit is corrupted, then that we are going to call it as a burst error. We are going to call it as a burst error, dear friends. Okay. Now here, if we are going to look at in your Forojan textbook, chapter 10, you can have a look at. If you are going through with your Forojan textbook, chapter 10, okay. So you are going to have this particular very beautiful way of explaining the things over here. You can have a look at it. Yeah. So this is the types of error, single bit error. Okay. And then we are going to have the burst error. Okay. So here that is the example now which we are going to have. Okay. Now here, what is the length of the burst? So now here, if you are going to look at that, the length of the burst is measured from the first corrupted bit to the last corrupted bit. Please try to note down that. The length of the burst is measured from the first corrupted bit to the last corrupted bit. You may think that, sir, when we are going to take from the first bit corrupted to the last bit in middle, some of the bits are not corrupted. Don't worry. Okay. See, some bits in between may not have been corrupted. Okay. So now the ultimate important point is, now here another important point, burst error is most likely to occur in a serial transmission. In the serial transmission, what you are going to do, you are going to send multiple bits continuously, okay, so one by one. So now here, what is going to be happen? The duration of your noise is going to reflect on all those bits. Okay, if you are using parallel, each bit is going to be separately. If in one wire it is happening, so it will not be. But in the parallel, what is happening in that link, if the noise is there, all those particular bits, whatever the noise duration is there, so all those bits are going to be affected. So that is nothing but the duration of noise is normally longer than the duration of one bit. Now, which means that when noise affects data, it affects a set of bits. Whenever a noise affects the data, it affects the set of bits, and the number of bits affected depending upon the data rate and the duration of noise. Okay. So now how many bits are going to be reflected here? If you want to look at, you can take an example and you can check that. Okay. So this is how it is going to be happening. Now the question arises, sir, you are telling that, okay, types of error. So in the types of errors, so single bit error or multiple bit error or burst error, which you are going to talk about. But the point is very clear, sir. So how we are going to identify whether it is having the error or not? Okay. So to identify that, what we need in the sense, you need to send some extra bit of information that we are going to call it as redundancy. We are going to call it as redundancy. See, now here, please note down that to detect or correct errors, we need to send extra bits with data that we are going to call it as redundant bits. Please note down. To detect or correct errors, what you have to do, you need to send some extra bits. Okay, some extra bits. Those extra bits we are going to call it as what? Redundant bits. Just a moment. Someone is calling. Hello. 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 Okay. So now here, these extra bits, we are going to call it as a redundance. Now, how it is going to happen? What, sir? How by using this redundance? 1 minute, please. Someone is continuously calling. Hello. Suppose, sir. Okay. Okay. Huh? Okay. Okay. లేదండి ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఎంత కట్టగలరో కట్టండి, కట్టిన తర్వాత నేను పర్మిషన్ ఇస్తాను. ఓకే, కట్టండి, నో ప్రాబ్లం. ఓకే, అవునండి, అదే బ్యాంక్ అండి. అవును చేయొచ్చండి, నో ప్రాబ్లం. ఓకే, చెప్పండి. ఓకే సార్. Okay. So now the point is, so you may ask a question, sir, when I am sending extra bits of information, how I am going to detect or correct the error, sir? Okay, first we will look at the detection, then we will come back to the correction. Okay, sir, when I am going to send this extra bit of information, what is the relation between this detect? Okay, so I would like to give that. Okay, why I am using this particular textbook is, in the photogen it was very clearly explained by using the diagrams. Okay, please, you can have a look at that. So the structure of the encoder and decoder, now here you can have a look at that, how it is going to be happen. Whatever the message is there, okay, so whenever the sender is going to send any message, on this message is going to perform some function called generator. Now this generator is going to generate the redundancy bits. Generator is going to generate the redundancy bits, and these redundancy bits are going to be added to the message. Okay, and these two are going to be sent through unreliable transmission. That is always, I have told that our network is unreliable network. Okay, and whenever it was sent through this, and at the receiver, whenever the receiver is going to receive it, okay, receiver has to perform a checker function, and this checker is going to say that whether it is correct, then you extract the message. Okay, otherwise it is, you can discard the message. Now this is how it is going to be happen. Now I hope everybody have drawn this particular thing, the structure of your encoder and decoder, what is going to be happen. Now if we are going to look at that, so here we are going to look at only, we are going to look at on the block codes. Okay, and convolutional codes we are going to leave it to the advanced. So when you are going to look at, again they are only calling, 1 minute please, sir. సార్ అది కాలేజీ వెబ్సైట్లో కూడా ఉంటుంది సార్, ఒక్కసారి క్రాస్ వెరిఫై చేసుకోండి సార్, నేను క్లాస్లో ఉన్నాను సార్, వెబ్సైట్లో ఉంటుంది సార్. So now here when we are going to look at that, sir, how we are going to do this generator? This generator we are going to use something like a modulo n arithmetic. Okay, so now here this modulo arithmetic, okay, we are going to use the integers in the range of 0 to n minus 1 inclusive. Okay, now here for that particular purpose you need to understand your XORing. I hope all you are aware of that. In the XORing, what is going to be happen when the two bits are the same, the result is 0. Okay, if it is 0 XOR 0 0, 1 XOR 1 0. Okay, and if the two bits are different, the result is 1. 0 1 is 1, 1 XOR 0 is 1. Now if the example, if you are going to look at that, 1 1 same 0, 0 0 same 0, 1 0 different 1, 1 1 is same 0, 0 1 is 1. This is according to this A and B principle. You are going to do this particular thing. Okay, XORing. You will understand that, sir, why you are explaining this XORing to me. Okay, this XORing is the technique which we are going to use, and this XOR logic, how to write this XOR logic, you need to learn for your lab applications also compulsory. Okay, now any doubt in the XORing? I don't think so, any doubt. Okay, because here what we are going to say, quite simple way. Okay, whenever two bits are same, the result is 0. Whenever the two bits are different, then the result is 1 in the XORing of the two bits. Okay, so now we will look at, okay, how this particular structure is going to be used for this. How this structure is going to be used for this. Okay, so before we are going to move to the block coding, let us look at your Tenenbaum, what they are going to talk about this error detection. Okay, now here, I hope everyone you are noting down the running notes. After completing the class, please post it so that I can understand that what you have followed and all, but which you are not doing from since last a couple of classes, please. Okay, now, so here the network designers have developed two basic strategies for dealing with errors. Both add redundant information to the data that is sent. Okay, the redundant information, that is, what is redundant information? Some extra bits which you are going to generate. How we are going to generate that, you will understand that. So very important question this is. One strategy is to include enough redundant information to enable the receiver to reduce what the transmitted data must have been. The other is to include only enough redundancy to allow the receiver to deduce that an error has occurred. Okay, but not with error. See, what we are going to say, one particular thing is just to add the limited redundant number of bits to tell that whether error is there or not. Another one is add the enough redundant information to enable the receiver to reduce, to deduce, sorry, this point, to deduce what transmitted data must have been. Now the point is, only up to detection I need a very limited number of bits, but when I want to exactly find out where the errors are there and all. So I need more number of bits. So this is what exactly. So here when we are going to look at that, okay, the farmer strategy uses error correcting codes. Now that is what here I am going to say, deduce. Whenever deduce is there, it is going to use error correcting codes. And when we are going to say that, only to say that whether error is there or not, that is going to use error detecting codes. Now the use of error correction codes is often referred to as FEC. What we are going to call it as forward error correction. Forward error correction. Now dear friends, now based upon this particular error correction and error detection, now you have understood when I want to detect, I'm going to send only the limited number of bits which I can tell me that whether the error is there or not. But whenever I want to find out where exactly the error is there or not, okay, which position the error is there, and also that for that particular thing I need this one. And majorly, whenever we are using a noisy channel, whenever we are going to use a noisy channel, always there will be a corruption. So we need forward error correcting codes. Okay, forward error correction codes. Forward error correction is nothing but error correcting codes. Okay, so which you need to find out where exactly the error is there and all. Okay, so if it is a noiseless channel, okay, it is different. Noisy channel only we are going to use, so we need to have this particular thing. Okay, so now based on this particular thing, now here if we are going to look at that error correcting codes, okay, error correcting codes and detection codes, we will come back to that. Okay, now how we are going to do that? How we are going to do that? First one, try to understand block coding. First, try to understand block coding. What we are going to do in the block coding? We divide our message into blocks. Like suppose if you are going to have a message M, we are going to divide it into M1, M2, M3 and up to Mn. Okay. Each block of k bits. In this case, they are going to say it as a k bits called data words. K bits called data words. And for this data word, we are going to add R redundant bits. R redundant bits. And for each block to make the length of n is equal to k plus r. K is the bit block of your message. R is the redundant bits which we are going to add it to identify or to use for the detection in that particular k bits. So whenever you are going to combine the k plus r, we are going to call it as code word. We are going to call it as the code word. Whenever the k bits are there, we are going to call it as the data word. So these two words are going to be very important. You have to remember that. Okay. So resulting n bit blocks are called code words. Now everybody have understood the data word and code word? Your friends, everyone have understood the data word and code word? Thank you. Now, so here we are going to start detection, then we are going to discuss about correction, then Hamming distance, and then we will come back to your prescribed textbook. Okay. So, what is the relation between the data word and code word in the block coding? Okay. Now here you have to keep it in your mind. As I told that whatever your message is there, that message is going to be divided into the k bit blocks. Your message is going to be divided into the k bit blocks. Okay. And for each k bit block, we are going to add r bits. We are going to add r bits. Now, whenever we are going to say k plus r bits, k plus r bits, now that each n bit, this is n is equal to k plus r, which we are going to say. Then which we are going to call it as a code word. Which we are going to call it as a code word. Now, please try to remember. Now, if suppose whatever your 2 to the power of k and 2 to the power of n is not same. So, whenever you are adding the redundancy bits, now here it is increasing the size. So, each of n bits, when you are doing that, only 2 to the power of k of them are valid. Remaining are not valid, you will come to know that. Okay. So now the point is something you imagine that if suppose I am going to use 2 to the power of 3 and I am going to add one bit extra, okay, r, now what is going to happen? 2 to the power of 4. When it is happening, so now you see k is 3, r is 1. Now here I can say that if suppose I am going to say k is 3, okay, and if I am going to say r is 1, and I can say that your n is k plus r, that is nothing but 3 plus 1, that is 4, and your data word, this is your data word, okay, this is your data word, okay, and for this you are adding the redundancy bit. When you are adding the redundancy bit, you are going to get this. This is what we are going to call it as code word. We are going to call it as code word. Now, when we are going to look at that, so 2 to the power of 3 is nothing but how many we are going to have? 8. 2 to the power of 3 is 8. 2 to the power of 4 is nothing but what? 16. Okay. Now, the meaning of this particular thing is out of these 16 code words, only 8 are valid. Only 8 are valid. Okay. So, this is what you have to understand. Everybody have understood this? Please, again, every time I'm coming back, I'm asking you people, please, anyone can respond me by unmuting yourself. Everybody have understood this? Thank you, Shamala, Himansu, Adarsh, Rakesh.
Yes, sir.
Understood?
We understood. Yes, sir. Understood.
Thank you. So now, when we are going to move to that, now here you can have a look at some example. Now that is what here I am going to show with the example. The 4b by 5b. See, 4 bits, one extra bit we are adding. So now here if you are going to look at that, your k is 4 and your n is 5. Then 2 to the power of k is 16, 2 to the power of n is 32. Now that is nothing but we saw that 16 out of 32 code words are used for message transfer and the rest are either used for other purpose or unused. That you have to understand that. Okay. So that is what exactly whatever I have explained over here. Okay. So now how we are going to do a detection? Please note on this. The process of error detection in block coding. The process of error detection in block coding. Now we are going to make use of the same thing. Okay. See, k bits and your generator need to generate redundancy bits. Okay. And this is going to be combined, and here we are going to get n bits code word. Code word is nothing but here we are going to have k plus r. And this we are going to send it by using the unreliable network, and it is coming over here, and then it should do a checker function, and based on that either it should extract the k bits or either it should discard the k bits. Okay, discard that message. So this is how it is going to be happen in the detection. But how it is going to be happen, let us have a look at. Let us have a look at. What I have told when we are going to do that, valid code words are going to be there. Now here, how we are going to detect, you can have a look at that, dear friends. Let us assume that k is how much? 2 and n is 3. That is nothing but redundancy. How many bits we are using? 1 bit. Okay. Now here, you can note on this particular table, okay, shows the list of data words and code words. Okay. Later we will see how to derive the code word from a data word. Okay. Now here table 10.1 you have to note down. Just a moment. Yeah, please. Not on this table. Everyone are able to see this? Please note down this table so that we can have a testing, okay, to detect. After noting down, please let me know. This is the data word 2 to the power of 2, k is 2. And next k is 3, that is nothing but these are the code words. Okay. Okay, let it be. I am making out this particular thing. Okay, now here you can have a look at that. So when we are going to have not this, okay. Okay, now here you can have a look at this. Now, so assume that okay. Now let us have a look at that. You have noted down this. Now consider the receiver receives 0, 1, 1. What receiver has received? 0, 1, 1. And it is the valid code word. You have to verify in this particular thing. Okay, you have to verify in the code words. Whether we have a 0, 1, 1, yes, we are having the 0, 1, 1 over here. So if it is a valid code word, then what receiver is going to do? Extract the data word from it, that is the 0, 1, it is going to take it. It is going to take it out from this. Okay. Now, so the ultimately, now when we are going to look at that, the another one, now the code word is corrupted during the transmission and 111 is received. So now here you look at 111 is there in these code words? No. So then this is not a valid. This is not a valid code word and is discarded. Then code word is corrupted during transmission and 000 is received. Now, when 000 is received, okay, now here 000 is a valid code word, then it has to extract what? 00, okay, but it is corrupted. Now here you can have a look at that. So the receiver incorrectly extracts the data word 00. That is nothing but 2 corrupted bits have made the error undetectable. 2 corrupted bits have made the error undetectable. Dear friends, looking at the examples, now simply directly by using the example I am explaining that. Whenever if you are going to have only single bit change, it is detectable. Whenever there is a multiple bits are changed, that is nothing but 0 is changed to 1 is changed to 0. Now what is going to be happen? You are ultimately adding the +1 and -1. It does not affect the value. So like that, now what happened? Erroneously, it is going to extract 0 0, but where this is what exactly is going to be happening. So now, dear friends, here if you are going to understand that, sir, what is this generator, what is this particular checker and all, when you are going to look at, now here generator is nothing but, so it is generating the code words for your given data words. This is a data words, this is a code words, it is generated. Now, so checker is nothing but whatever the data words or whatever the code words it was received, it is going to verify in the code words. And if it is available in the code word, it is going to extract the data word. If it is not available in this code word, it is going to discard that. And if it is more than 2 bits are there, the problem with this particular approach is this one. Okay. If more than 2 bits are corrupted, it is not able to detectable. Now, this is what exactly we are going to talk about this. I hope you have understood. Everyone have understood? Any doubt? How this checker and generator function is working. So your generator at the sender side, what it is doing? It is generating the code words for the given data word by adding extra bit. That is nothing but here we are going to say k is equal to 2. Okay. And here code word n is equal to what we are going to say? K plus r. We are going to say k plus r bits. Now, upon received by the receiver, what it is going to do? Receiver is going to receive what? Code words. Because we are going to transmit what? Code words. Now here you can have a look at that. I am sending the code words and the receiver is going to receive the code word. Now these code words, now the checker is nothing but what? Is here, it is going to check in this code words. Okay, whether the received code word is available in this or not. If it is not available, simply discarding. If it is available, corresponding data word is going to be extracted. But only the problem with this particular approach is when more than 2 bits are affected, when more than 2 bits are changed, then it is going to be undetectable. That is nothing but I can say that even number of bits, it is not going to work. That even number of bits, if it is going to be affected, so it is undetectable. So the error detecting code can detect only the types of errors for which it is designed. Now that is nothing but the so far which we have discussed this particular example, this is only for 1 bit errors, only for 1 bit error. Okay, so that is what you have to understand over here. So it is intended for, see, detect only the types of errors for which it is designed. Other types of errors may remain undetected. Okay, then that is the detection. Just I'm going to explain another one, correction. Now when you are going to look at that, so now in the detection, now here you look at, this is a very important one you have to observe. Now in the here what you are going to have, discarding is there. Okay, you are going to have discarding in the detection, but in the correction you are not going to have the detection, only you need to correct it. You need to correct it and extract it. Now here you can have a look at, please note down. So the k bits, and it is going to generate r, you are going to get the code word, and here it is going to be transmitted to the unreliable network using the transmission medium. And so here anything can happen, transmission impairments we are going to have. Okay, so based upon that any error may have, so that is the reason we need to check at the receiver end. So the received code words are going to be checked and then it should be corrected. It should be corrected. Sir, how we are going to correct it, sir? Let us have a look at. Let us have a look at example. Let us have a look at an example. Now, so here we are going to look at the table 10.2. Okay, so now here when we look at the table 10.2, please note down this first. Note down this, then you will have it. So we have just left with another 8 minutes. So please be fast, note down this data word and code word. because you need to tell me that what is the code word and all when we are going to discuss. Please be fast. Everyone, you have noted down the code word? I requested anyone can unmute and tell me that after noting down.
Sir.
Thank you, Vijay. Okay, now here we are going to look at that. Now, first important point. Now, here if you are going to look at that. Now, let us add more redundant bits. See, I have already told that when you want to deduce the error correction, when you want to do it, you need to send more redundant bits. Okay. In the previous case, when you want to only detect it, you don't want to correct it, then only one bit of redundant bit you have sent it. But now, when you want to use the correction, you need to send more redundant bits. Okay. So here the example, if you are going to look at that, the receiver can correct an error without knowing what was actually sent, how it is going to be happen. Let us look at that. We add 3 redundant bits to the 2-bit data word to make it 5-bit code word. That is what you have looked at. Okay. Now the first one, when we are going to look at the example, okay, assume the data word is 01. The data word is 01. Okay. Just 1 minute. Hello. Yes. అవునమ్మా. ఎక్కడ ఉన్నాను? ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ నా క్యాబిన్ కి రా పైన 214. So now when you are going to look at that, assume that the data word is 01 and the sender creates the code word as 01011. Okay. So now this is what you have to understand. See, for 01 he has created 01011. These are the redundant bits. So now let us look at the code word is corrupted during the transmission. Now what happened? So this one is changed to 0. Now what happened? 01001 is received instead of 01011. Instead of 01011. Now what is going to be happen? Now here how it is going to be detected and corrected. You see, first the receiver finds that the received code word is not in the table. What it is received? 01001. Now here you can have a look at that. 01001 is there? No, it is not there. So it is going to think that, okay, it is not found in the table. Now this means an error has occurred. Error detected. Error has occurred. But the receiver assuming that there is only 1 bit is corrupted, as we have discussed with that. Okay, all these codes are going to work for which is designed for it. Okay, so now here let us look at that only 1 bit is corrupted. Now what it is going to do? Uses the following strategy to guess the correct data word. How it is going to be happen? First one you look at. So comparing the receiving code word with the first code word. What is the first code word? Okay, all zeros. Now this is received versus this. Then the receiver decides that the first code word is not the one that was sent because there have 2 different bits. Now what is, sir, what is this 2 different bits? XOR it. XOR these 2. So when you are going to do XORing 0 1 0 0 1, okay, and 0 0 0 0 0, and here we need to do XORing. When you will do XORing, in the XORing what? Whenever anything are same, if both are same, it is same, 0. Okay, and this is 0. This is 0. Whenever both are different, it is 1. 1. So now in this one, how many ones are there? 2 ones are there. Now the point is, so now here 2 different bits are there, but actually what we are thinking that only 1 bit error, only 1 bit error, which we thought that over here, you can have a look at that, only 1 bit is corrupted, but here how many bits it is showing? 2 bits. So the first code word is not correct one. So then we will look at the second one. Just a moment. Yeah. Wait a minute. 2 minutes. ఇప్పుడు 2 minutes. So now the point is, the second one, by the same reasoning, the original code word cannot be the third and fourth in the table. You can verify that. See, this and this also you are not going to have only one bit error. So now what is going to be happen? Now when you are going to look at, the original code word must be the second, because the difference between the original code word and the received code word differed by only one bit. So now you see, I'm going to correct it. So this is what exactly we are going to say, how we are going to do the correction. Okay, so I hope you have understood. Whenever you are going to find that the difference, okay, that is we are going to call it as the Hamming distance. Hamming distance between the two words is the number of difference between the corresponding bits. When you are going to say, so here you got a 2, these 2 we are going to call it as a Hamming distance. So one is we are going to use error correction code by using the Hamming distance. We are going to use one technique called Hamming distance. Okay, so I hope everybody have understood this one. Everybody have understood this? Everyone have understood how the detection and correction is going to be happen?
Yes, sir.
So then we will see more techniques related to this in the next class. So thank you for attending. Thank you all for attending the class. Thank you. If anybody is having any doubts, you can ask me.